Hello, this is Venetia Ramsey from Scrapworks and welcome to the 2024 NSD. This is project 2 in my online workshops for this weekend, and I'm going to be putting together an album designed by Louise from Creative Trail. All of her albums are designed to work hand in hand with her digitals, so you can purchase and download her digitals from her website. I have made 1 or 2 little alterations to the album, so I've made it to suit my style and the way I like to put things together. But if you download from Louise's website and you do purchase it, she does give you a cutting guide and exactly how to put the album together. So you should have, if you've done your prep video, already cut all this stuff out and prepped your prepped your album pieces and to be able to assemble. So I'm just going to run through what the album looks like that Louise created. I've left it blank so that it's easier to see. Okay, so her little album, she has an inside cover that flips like that. Then she has this belly band with the concertina photo mats that go inside like that. Right, then we turn it over. There's a little pocket to put more goodies in. She has what she calls an in-between page that she pops in over there. We have a magnetic closure with some more room for photo mats that then closes up like that. And then there's another pocket to be able to put some more photos in. And then it all repeats. Okay, so we have the belly band with the album insert, the little concertina booklet that's going to go inside there. Then again, space to put more photos. Then an in-between page again with a magnetic closure. Mine isn't stuck yet because I haven't put my papers on, but the little booklet that so you can decorate the front and then put more photos, put another photo, or just decorate here. It's entirely up to you. And then again, space to put in a little insert. Right, then at the back here she's got this little booklet, so again more room for photos, so that just opens up like that. And it's kind of done in a, what would you call it? I forget the word now. But yeah, so it's nice, another little album and a little booklet to add some things. And then the little booklet, the box, I put mine together incorrectly, but it still works. I just had to be a little bit more clever on how I embellish. And then this little box opens up, and then inside here is space for more photos and more photo mats to go with this to pop inside here. So you can either close your booklet up like that and have these pages laying over it, or you can then, I found that it worked quite fine to put the little booklet inside the box like that as well, to make it interesting and put a little closure here. Right, so there we go. A nice interesting little album. And then I went and started to sort of follow the rules and then broke the rules a little bit. So my little album, we'll go through it quickly, looks like this. So instead of the page opening up this way, my page opens up that way because I stuck it on wrong, but I used it as an opportunity. And then I have this belly band. I made a belly band out of the paper with another little insert. So I'll be adding photos in there, and then that closes there. And what I'll do is I'll hold it open so you can see. So here's the belly band with the insert, and then you can see here, once it's decorated, just how nice that's going to look. Okay, I like to double mat my photos. So there we go. That's going to work in there like that, and there's enough space for it. So even though it's a little bit fat, it works. So there's the pocket. I did my little pocket slightly differently. Okay, opens like that. Here's on my in-between page, I added this little pocket and added 2 little tags. So there's the little tags that go in over there. Right, so I'm going to put a photo and a photo. So that brings us to where the little magnetic closure is, so that opens up. I've just put this awesome piece of pattern with blessings on, and I will put a photo inside there and there. And then also I've just put some pattern paper, and then that closes. My pocket, I don't have it opening. So, oh, I forgot to tell you that there's a little pocket over there. So there's another little pocket that can be embellished. And then I have these photo mats that are going to go in here. And then here, instead of putting in the concertina file, here little folders, I've just made another little photo mat that I'll put pop photos in. And that'll go behind here like that. Okay. And then for this in-between page, oh, and then there's my pocket for my inserts. Okay. Then on this in-between page, I have, I've got this little pocket on. I just still need to stick it in. In Louise's project, you'll see that she cut this little envelope up. I've actually used it as an opportunity to put some tags in. So there's the little tags, and I'll stick that down, and then this and this will become photos. Right here, this little closure opens up. There's a little cut apart here. We've cut it away so that we can slide a little something in there. You can add an extra photo if you wanted to, but then there's the little, some more photos that go in, and that closes up like that. And again, I chose not to have an opening here. In this pocket, another little opportunity for photo mat. All right, then again, this is not 100% finished. So here, there's at the back here. Whoops. So I've chosen to have these ones out for now. So this is this first page, decorated waterfall album. That's what it is. This takes on the bit of a form of a waterfall kind of effect, like that. Then my gather together is I've embellished my little box like that, and I've chosen to put one of the little concertina booklets inside my box, and there's another photo mat to be able to add an extra photo. Right, so a slightly different take on the original, and just want to show you that this will then fit inside here quite comfortably. I'm just going to add a magnet. It's making a bit of a bulge now because of the paper clips, but that'll close up really well. Right, so we're going to get cracking and put the little album together. Right, remember there are no rules. You do what is comfortable for you. Right, so you should have by now cut out all the cut and score everything for your album. Okay, we're going to start by putting together the cover, right? So if you recall in the prep video, I explained to you how awesome these little pockets are to have. So here it says my cover, it's got my chipboard pieces in. I just have to open that up and everything is there. I have still paper clipped stuff together in case I drop this and it ends up on the floor. Right, so my suggestion, once you have your chipboard, because it is 11 centimeters by 12 and it's very easy, it looks the same, to end up sticking one this way and one this way, or sticking them both this way, and then you have a tiny little spine. So my suggestion is that you I put your 12 going this way and this way, so I know that which direction my papers go. Right, something that I think works really well that I saw in what Louise, she, instead of using the tape to form part of the outside, she actually covers the tape. And what I found is by doing that the edges of the album, your album, seem to be a little bit more protected, and it adds a little bit of I don't know, bounce or squishiness to the edges of the album, and seems to finish it off just a little bit neater than on the hard cardboard. Okay, so I'm going to use the tape to join my covers to my spine. So we'll do it like this, and to create my spacing. So I'm just going to pop this down like that, right? And then I want to have almost a 5 more gaps. So I'm going to use some tape to stick down there just to create my spacing. And we will then just tear that off. Okay. Remember this tape is very, very, very sticky. And I'm just going to join this one up against my little spacer. I'm making sure that it's lined up with this top and with this bottom. And we're just going to give that a cut. Alright, make sure the tape is pretty straight. And just give that a trim. Alright, so then that gives me that. I can cut off any excess later, but it turns in quite nicely, and I'm going to repeat that process on the other side. And remember, this is not the rule. If you have a way of covering your albums that is more comfortable for you and easier, then do that. At the end of the day, it all looks the same. Just how you get there needs to be what's easy for you. So I'm going to pop this tape down again, and I'm just going to some scissors. I let it touch down on the construction tape. To lift it up is going to be a nightmare. I'll just cut it off. Right. There we go. And then what I want to do is then attach this one. So make sure that it's lined up over there. All right. And then you're just going to burnish that on a little bit. And you kind of make sure your gap here and here is more or less the same. If you prefer to measure, then you can just, it's about a ½ centimeter gap. Right, so any excess tape that I can see hanging over, I'm just going to go in and trim off. Like that. In the bottom, there's a little bit here. There we go. Right. Once that's done, I'm going to then cover the edges with the construction tape. I know that I'm going to cover it up, but I really like the feel of what it is once it's covered. So I'm just going to drop that down like that. Trim that off. And also, if I don't cover my corners 100%, then I have the opportunity to fix that when I cover the album with the paper. I'm just going to take off that excess. Right. I'm just going to lift this tape because I want the construction tape to stick and I don't want it to come off. And if I leave the release paper on it stands the chance of lifting off. So there we go. I like to start from the middle and take it down. You don't want to pull on it too tight. You just want to really just fold it over slowly. You want to be firm, but you don't want to pull too tight because then you're going to distort your album cover. So I'm just going to push that down like that. And the same here. Let's see. Now when I fold it, everything works fine. Might just need a little bit of burnishing on along the top like that. But so far so good. So there we go. So that then just adds that little bit of extra protection to the corners of your album. And again, if there's any excess, we just trim it off. Remember, it's important to trim off because otherwise it creates bulk and might just create like a little lump or bubble in your, once you start to cover. I'm going to repeat that process at the bottom. I just pull the tape out. You can see I just leave it to stand like that, and then I'm just going to drop this on about halfway down. I don't put any tension on the tape itself. There we go. I'm going to make sure that it's done really well. I'm going to lift that release tape. Right. And then I'm just going to gently, from the middle, work my way out to the side, pull that tape across. Firm, but gently. So you don't really want to tug on the construction tape. Right, feels like I've got all the air bubbles out. Just maneuver that in there like that. Let's close it up. And again, we can then just burnish the edges. There we go. Remove any excess. Right, so I'm going to do the same on the sides. Sticky. I'm just going to give it a little bit extra so that, because I haven't cut the tape straight. All right. Go. I'm going to miter the corners slightly, just a little bit, because I don't want to have any overhang and I don't want too much bulk on the corners. See, I've got a little bit of excess. There we go. And then the same thing, you're just going to fold this over, firm but gentle. You don't want to pull on it. There we go. We'll do the same on the other side. Just, oops, luckily. There we go. So I can see that I have a little overhang here, so I'm just going to trim it off before I fold over. There we go. So again, I know that that's done well, firm. There we go. Then you can give that a good burnish. Make sure your corners have no little sticky bits. There we go. So now at this stage, if you do not want to cover your album completely, you can cut pieces that fit the front and the back. So you can stop here. You don't have to add the next cover. The corners are nice and neat, nothing sticking out. You can easily just stick your pattern paper on here. So let me show you. You could just add it like that, and you don't actually need the extra cover. Right, even with the spine, everything works just fine. But I am going to add that extra cover to my album. Right, so you need to cut a piece that measures, I have a big piece, I think it's 35 by 16 centimeters, that I'm going to use to cover the album completely. Right, so once you have done your borders and you have decided you're going to cover your album, my suggestion is that you actually draw a line to be able to line your album up straight. So I'm going to use 2.5 centimeters by 2.5, and I think that I've cut my paper a little bit too long. It should have been 16 centimeters, and I think I've cut it to 17, but that's fine. I'll just trim off the excess. So I draw a line at the left and the bottom. You just measure your 2.5. And then just draw a line. I find that this is the easiest way for me to be able to get my album cover on straight, like that. Okay. Right, I will trim off the excess just now. So what I'm going to do now is just put some tape on the back here. And where is it? You can choose if you want to use tape or glue, whichever is easiest for you. I don't like that the glue takes long to dry, so I prefer the tape when it wants to work. There we go. And again, you want to make sure when you put your tape on that it's on smooth. So you don't want there to be any air bubbles in the tape. I'm just going to put a couple of strips of tape down. You can also do a combination of glue and tape. It's entirely up to you. All you want to be sure is that once you've got your album cover down and you start your cover, that it doesn't shift and that there are no air bubbles. Okay. So you want to be sure that all of it actually adheres to your cover. And give it a good burnish. And remove the tape backing. So you could easily now go and add a little bit of glue to the tape. If you're unsure and if you're scared it's going to shift. So I would go and add a little bit of glue. If I was going to add glue, I'll just do the one side. Add it to the tape. If we start something on one side, we need to finish it on the other. So just a little bit of glue. And then you can also go on the in-betweens. Right, I'm not too worried about getting too much on because I am going to cover it. Okay, and I don't want the squigglies to come through on so I'll just smooth it out a little bit. So there's no lumps and bumps. Right, so you want to line your cover up with the left line and the bottom line. And then just put it down slowly. Again, don't put any tension on your album itself. Just shift it into place. Once you're happy, you can then burnish it in place. Okay. You want to make sure there are no bubbles, wrinkles, none of that stuff. Right, there we go. So I'm just going to trim off, I'm going to measure my 2.5 centimeters and trim off the excess. So that's 1, 2.5. 1, 2.5. Measured from the wrong place. I measured from the grey board instead of the where the construction tape is. 1, 2.5. There we go. That's better. So I need to cut it off there. 1, 2.5. Just going to cut off the excess quickly. So I would also always rather have my cover slightly bigger than too small. It's easy enough to cut down, but not as easy to add a little extra. Right. That's a bit better. Right. Let's get rid of all the junk. Okay, so the next step is again a preference. Okay, I like to put tape on my along the edges here and along the edges here, but because I know the tape won't stick on the take too well to the construction tape, I will just add tape here. So again, this is a preference. If you have something that works for you, then by all means, that's what you need to do. Right, now that I have tape everywhere, I'm going to just burnish the tape, make sure that I've got it on smooth, that there are no air bubbles. I will do it on the paper as well as on the cardstock. I have one of these corner goodies, a corner thingy, corner cutter thingy. Okay, I'm just going to use that to get my corners cut. Right, so if you're doing it without one of these, what you want to make sure is that there's a bit of space between the corner and the paper so that when you fold it over, your corner covers. There we go. Right, so now before I start to stick it, I just want to bend the paper, and what would we call it, break the fibers in the paper just to get it to work my way. Right, so I like to bend it over a little bit, so I work top to bottom, left to right. You can, if you want to, go in with a little tool and burnish to create a line, but I find that this way works just fine. So another thing I like to do then is to fold it over, hold it, and then just run the bone folder along the the side of the album, just to make sure that I've got it flush against the side and that I didn't go a bit skew. I'll do the same on the right flap and the left flap. Now that I know that I've got everything in nice and straight, we can then go in and burnish. So now I know it's not going to go skew, there are not going to be any gaps. That's nice extra burnishing. Right, so now we can start to attach the cover. Again, just take away those little strips so that it attaches in the middle there. Right, I'm going to remove the tape backing from one of the longer sides. Again, from the middle, take, oh, almost forgot, remove the tape backing from your grey board or your hardcover board. Okay, so if the tape is lifting with the release paper, then you know you've missed a spot. You haven't burnished it off the tape as well as what you should. So rather go back and burnish that little piece again. There we go. Right, so here we go. So now we're just going to start from the middle again. Take it over. Firm but gently move that cover onto the grey board. Okay. Right. Then I'm going to use my bone folder and just turn the paper in at the top here. Just work it down. And the same on this side. Just fold it in. You want to fold it in slightly so that when I close up, I've got a nice smooth corner and not a little spike sticking out like that. Right, we're going to do this side. We're going to remove the tape backing. Take that, take that. And we're going to start from the middle and just work your way out to the sides. Same thing, you just want to work those corners in. Right, so you want to smooth it over, you want to make sure that you've got everything where it should be. Nice, no gaps between the paper and the edge. All right. And then before you stick the sides down, we can then just fold it over and fold it over. Make sure, yeah, that's going to work very nicely. Okay, everything is burnished down. You see I have a gap there. I haven't burnished it down properly. Now make sure that you've got it flush and smooth on your paper. The little bit of extra time you take here pays off in the long run. Right, so these can come off now. and we can just lift this up and just burnish that into that so that it sticks to the paper. Alright, you really want to make sure that that is worked in really well. Now remember, I'm rubbing, but I'm putting a little bit of pressure, but not a lot of pressure. I don't want to break the paper. I'd rather go burnish a little bit extra with a little bit less pressure than put too much pressure and tear the paper. Right, so if we fold this over now, it should have retained. Yes, very, very nice. Still a little bit of burnishing over here and here. Perfect. Right, so we can remove the tape backing from the sides. Same thing, work from the middle out. Just work those edges so we don't have little pointy edges. Well, looks good. And the other side. There we go. Right, so in your cutting guide, I've given you the option to close this up. I prefer to attach the covers that are going to go here after I've attached the spine, but if you want to do it before, then that's entirely up to you. So we will close this up once we've attached the album itself. Right, so this closes nicely. We want to train it to stay closed like that. Just give it a bit more, just smooth off those edges a little bit. There we go. Right, so what I like to do then is just add a little clip to the edge like that, so that I can just teach it that it needs to stay closed. It doesn't have to be like that for long. I just leave it like that while I'm creating the album pages.